Alright, hi everybody, it's Cameron again. It's time for some more Snakespiration. Just want to thank everybody. This has been so much fun. Part of it is I get to get out the snakes and play with them. So of course that's a lot of fun. But also just thank you guys because you're making me think. You're making me think about interesting things about snakes and ways I can talk to you about them. This next question I got from my father, and it's about snakes hibernating. We all know that some snakes congregate in hibernaculum to hibernate, spend the winter. But how do they get there? How do they find it? You know, one snake might get lucky and find a spot where it can go down deep and survive, and other snakes may not. And then do all snakes hibernate communally or not? Or do they hibernate individually? Well, that's why today's snake is just a little tiny baby bull snake, and the babies are the ones that have the most trouble. If you are an adult snake, you obviously hibernated successfully the year before. Ignore the noise. It's my garage heater. I get the heat in here for some of the critters that live out here during the winter. So just please ignore that. But so it's the babies though. If you hatch out, you have no previous knowledge of your surroundings. You have no previous knowledge of what's around. You do have your genes, and your genes are telling you that you need to get down below freezing or you're gonna die. And so what does a baby snake do? Well, there's different strategies. Some, like this bull snake, just get lucky and they find a rodent burrow and they go way down deep. Other species, like rattlesnakes that are communal, they use a communal den to hibernate, are really fascinating in that the babies will follow in straight lines or crawl in straight lines until they run across the scent trail of an adult. Now, if you notice, a snake can smell with their tongue, so he's flicking out his tongue, and they smell right or left, which is awfully cool to think about. Right and left. God, it's getting loud. Woo! Oh boy. Oh well. It's, what are you gonna do, right? I can yell! Goodness gracious, I did not know it was that loud. I have to work on that. But they smell right or left. Back to our story. And so they come across that scent trail. They smell right or left, and they understand, well, the snake went left. They'll turn and they'll follow that adult to a hibernating place. Or the snake went right. The adult snake went right. They'll follow that adult. So that's how baby snakes learn where the new hibernacula are. And once they're there, it's put into their map of the area in their brain, and then it's forever there. They know where to go every year. Which is why relocation of snakes like rattlesnakes does not work. Is that they have a map in their head and they already know what's going on. If you take that rattlesnake and you go, oh, this is great habitat over here. Well, it comes time for hibernating, they're lost. They don't know which way to go. And they'll travel straight line, they'll come back, try and go back to where they were, where they were originally caught, because that's their home range. And a lot of times there's roads, highways, interstates, all those evil things that are cars and trucks are on, that, and rattlesnakes can't cross roads, and so they're killed. Relocating snakes is not the best option. You can do it, but it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work to make sure that snake puts a new map in its head for where it can hibernate. So that's just the short answer there. So what kind of species? Bull snakes will hibernate together. They will. Not all the time, but they do. I know of a hibernacula here that we'll visit in the spring together, and I'm going to show you where multiple bull snakes, big adult bull snakes, not the little babies, but big adults, all hang out together during the winter. But garter snakes are known for hibernate communally. Back east, on the east coast of the United States, a lot of the different snakes will hibernate together. You'll have garter snakes, racers, rat snakes, milk snakes, and rattlesnakes and copperheads, all using the same den. Same thing happens out west in places where that's all they have are some very few dens, very few den sites, hibernacula sites for the snakes to survive in, to survive the winter in, I should say. There are also sites, I don't know if you've seen the pictures on the internet, where, especially the famous one that I can think of, is a railroad where there's a culvert going underneath the railroad. And that's here in Colorado, by the way. And so no one will tell you it's diamondback rattlesnakes. Well, there aren't any diamondback rattlesnakes in Colorado. Those are prairie rattlesnakes. And there's actually so many rattlesnakes there that the ones on the bottom get crushed and die. That's a lot of snakes. Now, That doesn't happen everywhere, but that's just a unique situation where there's one really good spot for all the snakes to hibernate in, and that's where they all go, and so it's just overwhelming with snakes. Same thing kind of happens with garter snakes in Manitoba. I don't know if you've seen the big garter snake pits where thousands of snakes are coming out of the one limestone sinkhole, and that to me is just an amazing event. There's another benefit of getting together for the winter, is when in the spring, when it's time to reproduce, you come out, bingo, you're right there with the females if you're a male. And if you're a female, you're right there with their males. Tons and tons of really neat sexual deviance, let's say, in those populations of males that smell like females to confuse the other males and draw them away. Or cloacal plugs. Remember we talked about the cloaca, where a cloacal plug, where a male puts a plug in there so another male can't mate with that female. Awesome, really cool stuff that happens at Hibernacula. And it's not just a place to spend the winter. So I'm going to end there. Hopefully I answered my dad's question about will multiple snakes use a Hibernacula, the same kind? Yes. And then also, ooh, I'm getting snake kisses. Also, how do they find the Hibernacula? Is the babies will often, like a bull snake, just find a spot and go down, or sometimes they follow an adult snake, depending on the species, to where the best place to hibernate is. So that's it. Hopefully I've snake-spired you to tell somebody else about snakes. They're some of the coolest creatures on earth. They're adaptations. Hopefully I can continue to tell you more. Ask questions via Twitter, YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube, or follow the Center for Snake Conservation on Facebook or on Google+. It's a great place to learn more about snakes so that you can be snake-spired about these amazing creatures, and let other people know that snakes aren't scary. Yes, some need to be respected, just like all wildlife should be respected, in my opinion. Even ants and bees and tarantulas, spiders, bats, everything deserves our respect. We're humans. We're smart enough to know that. We're just, oh, I'm getting off on a tangent there. I'll stop there. We can go there some other day. But remember, Snakespiration, it's up to you, and you can help me spread the word about these amazing animals. Thanks. Have a great night.